schedule of this webinar. The webinar is divided into two sessions. In first session, we have our first chief guest, Dr. Avinash Adesar, and he will talk on fungi in human welfare. And next, it will be followed by the question answer session on the same topic.
In second session, we have our second chief guest, Dr. Pampi Ghosh Madam, and our topic of discussion is fungi in agriculture and forestry, a boon to human welfare. And it is also followed by question answer session on the same topic.
I know everyone is quite excited to hear these valuable and informative words from our precious chief guest. So, I would like to start today's event by welcoming speech of the most active and supportive personality of our college, Dr. Purushottam Kunde sir, Principal Dr. Purushottam Kunde sir,
Good morning, all of you.
Good morning, sir.
Good
morning.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, very good morning, sir. It is indeed a moment of pride for me to welcome the distinguished visitors who have joined us in the national webinar organized by the Department of Botany on fungi in human welfare. Especially I am thankful to Dr. Avinash Adesar, Professor and HOD Department of Botany, Savitribai Phule, Pune University, Pune. I am also thankful Dr. Pampi Ghosh Madam, Assistant Professor and HOD, Department of Botany, Seva Bharati Mahavidyalaya, West Bengal. First of all, I congratulate our head of the department, Dr. Bhalshankar Madam, and all the department faculties to organize this virtual meet. I take this opportunity to introduce you all with the glorious past and engaging present of our parent institute, Ahmednagar Jilla Maratha Vidya Prasarak Samaj, Ahmednagar. The institute was founded in the year 1918 with the financial assistance from Chhatrapati Shahu Maharaj of Kolhapur in memory of Hutatma Karveer Chhatrapati Chauthe Shivaji Maharaj. Beginning with the single boarding school, the institution under the able leadership of and all that thing. Tejo Fi Tejo Me Dehi. This is our motto, and especially the same vision of imparting education to the deprived classes of the society. The New Arts, Commerce and Science College, Sevgaon. मंडन मॅडम कुठेतरी कोणाचा तरी माईक चालू आहे. म्यूट करा माईक
कोणाचा?
New Arts, Commerce and Science College, Sevgaon was established in the year 1978 to provide quality education to the project affected population of Sevgaon Tehsil, irrespective of classes carried and sex. Presently, the college runs 17 UG and 7 PG programs in the arts, commerce and science faculties. Adhering to the local needs of the vicinity of the college has started diploma courses in the farm equipment and machinery, polyhouse technology, aquaculture and advanced IT under UGC Community College scheme. The college is re-accredited with A grade, and the third accreditation in 2017 and is due fourth cycle of accreditation in the year 2022. College is the recipient of Best Rural College Award by Savitribai Phule University. It is also a RUSA sponsored college and has won Zagar Zaniwansa Award from Maharashtra government. Recently, the college annual magazine Purusharth has also won a second best prize award and best student development district coordinator award by Savitribai Phule Pune University Pune. The present webinar on fungi in human welfare will surely be fruitful to stimulated academic deliberation among the students, academics, and academicians and researchers. I congratulate the organizing team and Department of Botany for this initiative. Thank you all of you and best wishes for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. You made atmosphere very rich. After the welcoming address, I will call upon the Head of Department of Botany, New Arts, Commerce and Science, Paris Shevgaon, Dr. C.K. Balshankar Madam, for the introduction of our today's guest and first resource person of webinar.
Thank you, Sushil. It's my immense pleasure to introduce our guest, Professor Dr. Avinash Ade sir. He is Professor and Head of Department of Botany, Savitribai Phule, Pune University, Pune. Sir has a vast biodata, but I am explaining in brief here. Sir has completed his BSc and MSc in Botany from Amravati University, and he got gold medal at the MSc level. He has awarded with PhD in 2004 from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Aurangabad. He has 24 years of teaching and research experience. He is also research guide. 11 students got PhD under his guidance and 6 are working. 5 students have been awarded MPhil and 48 projects by MSc student under his able guidance. He has published 15 research papers in Scopus Journal having impact factor 2.85. 16 papers published in peer reviewed and 27 in other reputed journals. He has published 8 books and written 12 book chapters. He has attended 31 conferences and presented 45 research papers in different conferences. He has also given 13 invited talks. He is life member of Marathwada Botanical Society, Maharashtra Society of Genetics and Plant Breeding, Indian Society of Genetics and Plant Breeding, and Indian Society of Plant Pathologists, Indian and the Indian Ecological Society. His research interests in bioremediation like plastic waste management, oil degradation, pesticide degradation, etc. So herewith I am completed my introduction. I heartily welcome sir in the national webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for your brief introduction of the guest. Now we are going to start today's event by inviting today's first guest, Professor Dr. Avinash Ade sir.
Thank you very much, madam, for nice introduction. May I have the display of PPT?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 2 minutes.
Is it visible, madam?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is totally visible. Yes.
Okay. So, we are discussing about the fungi for human welfare as the theme of this particular webinar is pertaining to the particular topic. Now, why these fungi, they are treated for the usefulness or well-being of the human. all of you know, or before knowing this, the fungi, if any layman, if he asks what is the importance of fungi, then he will answer that the fungi are just, you can say, waste material. They are causing diseases, they are causing rotting purpose or rotting process, and because of that, the neglected, you can say, status they will have, and because of that, the discarding or negligible or ignoring kingdom it is, and therefore this kind of webinar is essential for the for understanding the importance of fungi in the daily life or human life. I am congratulating the college for organizing this particular seminar uh, pertaining to this particular topic. 10 years back, I visited this college when Dr. Matkar was principal. I remember that event, and it is my great pleasure to visit this college or visit the event of this college, of course, online due to COVID pandemic, and to have the interaction with participants or the college people. So, fungi, if we are treating, uh, whether the alteration of slide is visible, madam?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So, fungi is considered as a kingdom, separate kingdom by Whitaker. Uh, we know that there is 5 kingdom system.
Sorry, sir, for interruption.
Yes.
The alteration is not visible.
That's why I asked. Next slide is not visible.
Yes, sir.
Now it is visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, 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 yes.
So every time I have to minimize and then maximize. Okay, no problem.
Yes. Okay.
So 5 kingdom system, all of us know. This is consisting of 5 different groups of organisms. These are separately treated as kingdoms. So kingdom fungi, that is separately placed in addition to the kingdom Plantae, Animalia, Protista and Monera. Okay. So fungi are specifically separated because of their heterotrophic mode of nutrition and eukaryotic, you can say, mycelium, as well as multicellular condition is there. So all these features, they are going to divert this particular group of organism as a separate kingdom, and these are known as fungi. So fungi, if we see the salient features of fungi, then we'll find that they are eukaryotic in nature, means the nucleus is present within the cell of fungi, well distinct nucleus is there. These are non-vascular, so just like plants or just like animals, the vascular systems or channels for the supply of nutrient, that is completely absent in this case. So this is therefore known as non-vascular organism. Then non-motile, the fungi are grown at one particular site where the food is available, and once they got it, the fungi, they become spreading, they will be spreading on that particular site, and hence they need not to move from one place to another place, just like animals. And they are heterotrophic organisms because they don't produce their own food, they have to depend for the food material on the plants or animals, and therefore they are known as heterotrophic in nature. They may be unicellular or filamentous. Certain fungi are unicellular, and some of them they are filamentous. In filamentous also, the unicellular nature would be there, and later on multicellular, you can say, organization is also reported. Then they are showing reproduction by means of spores, just like cryptogams, that is bryophyte, pteridophytes. The fungi are also reproduced by the spores. Then fungi exhibit the phenomenon of alteration of generation. So here for lower organisms, the alteration of generation is a phenomenon where different stages are seen, and in terms of genetic constitution or in terms of say ploidy level, such differentiation in the stages of the variation generation that is observed. Then very important salient feature is a fungi is lacking chlorophyll, and hence autotrophic mode of say photosynthesis and all that, or self preparation of food, self synthesis of food, that is lacking. So because of this particular mode, no, this group has been shifted to the another kingdom. Earlier it was in a cryptogamic botany, or earlier it was in cryptogams, or you can say just after the
Rohan, Rohan, please mute your mic. Sorry, sir, for the interruption. Please mute mic, participant. Rohan, Mr. Rohan.
oh, thanks God.
Okay. Sorry, sir.
So fungi basically, if we try to classify, then five phyla you can see. The phyla is otherwise we use for the classification of animals, just like that, as separate kingdom is there, and that's why instead of calling it as a division or class, these are considered as phyla. So such fungi, they are classified according to this five phyla. So these are named as Basidiomycota or Ascomycota, Glomeromycota, Zygomycota, and Chytridiomycota. So such a type of fungi, they are having their organization as per the course of evolution. Very primitive is a Chytridiomycota. Then afterwards Zygomycota, where there is a branching or union of this you can say hyphae, and haploid uh, mycelium is observed. Then Glomeromycota is the fungi which is grouped or treated as worm fungi or as arbuscular mycorrhiza. Then Ascomycota and Basidimycota, these are the highly evolved fungi. These are showing the dikaryophage, septate mycelium. So because of this particular function, these are treated to be higher level or highly developed, highly evolved level. So Basidiomycota can produce basidiospores, Ascomycota can produce ascospores, and very typical recombination of the genes we can understand from the ascospores, and based on that the mapping linkage maps are developed by considering the Neurospora crassa genetics. You may be knowing that. So such type of fungi, they are there, and they are identified, they are classified according to the salient features, and hence these are the organisms that we have and we have to face. So what are the uses of these fungi in human welfare or human life? Let us understand. The very basic need of human being is a food, and fungi are going to provide us food. So nowadays the people are becoming aware that fungi or mushroom especially, that will be utilized by the people. So by concentrating on that particular aspect, the fungi are treated, and fungi are given importance for the food material. So about 2000 species they are found to be suitable for the human consumption, and they are reported from all over the world. World, you may be knowing that it is consisting of tropical and temperate zones. So fungi may like tropical or temperate climate, and accordingly they will be growing. But these will be proved. This has been proved as the source of food material for the human being. So far as the fructifications of the fungi, this is there. So these fructifications we use generally, for example, field mushroom, that is Agaricus campestris, and honey-colored mushrooms. They are also showing, that is Lycoperdon and Clavaria, and Morchella, that is considered to be a highly nutritious mushroom, and that will be having multifold nutrients, even more than the plants or more than the animals. So such nutrients they are there, and fungi they are serving as a food for this. Uh, then yeast and certain filamentous fungi, they are said to be the sources of the B complex vitamins, and you know the importance of B complex, B1, B2, B6 and B12. So this complex of the B vitamin, that plays an important role in our you can say metabolic activity, and the deficiency symptom, otherwise if B is absent, then you may be observing there is a disease very known as the deficiency symptom of this B vitamin. So for this particular cause, fungi they are serving as food, and this is richest source of protein. So just like paneer uh, in our daily consumption, or just like chicken in our daily consumption, the fungi can be acting
Sir,
here as
sir,
yes.
sorry, sir. Sorry for the interruption. Did you alter the slides?
No,
No, okay,
no,
because it is.
no. This is it visible?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay. So
That I
I
have,
thought you alter.
yeah. That I have to remember. I have to minimize and maximize again.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. So this is the particular Morchella, which is highly nutritious fungus, highly nutritious mushroom, and this is button mushroom. All of us know. So here, this is the very nutritive fungus, and I am talking about this is having a greater significance, even more than the chicken or more than any of the non-veg dishes. Of course, the fungus is also non-veg because it is considered as separate kingdom, but it is related with the veg or plants because of the cell wall presence in its cell. So such fungi, they are the sources of the vitamins, B complex vitamin, or these fruiting bodies, they will be edible for our food material. Then if you go for the listing of food and beverages from fungi, then we'll find that Saccharomyces cerevisiae, that is forming the baker's yeast. The wine is also made from that, or any raw material or any carbohydrate source. If you put, then due to the anaerobic respiration, the fungi produce alcohol, just like bacteria, and this alcohol will be later on adjusted for the making of wine. So Saccharomyces carisbergenis, this is responsible for producing larger beer. Then Saccharomyces roxy, that is found to be responsible for the production of soy sauce. So soy sauce is the sauce or extract, fermented extract obtained from the soybean crop. Okay. Then Candida milleri, that is responsible for forming sour French bread. So bread making is also the product of fermentation. So for this fermentation, this fungal inoculum is used. Then Penicillium roqueforti, that is used as blue vein cheeses. We know the ripening process of the cheese. The fungal inoculum is introduced into the cheese, and fungi they secrete the lipolytic or proteolytic enzyme, and because of that, the ripening process of the cheese is being carried out. So Penicillium roqueforti is the species in which this is used in the blue vein cheeses. Then Penicillium camembert, camemberti. So this another type of camembert or Greek cheeses. These are formed. So that depends on the species whether these are tropical or temperate, depending on that. The respective you can say cheese making that is done. Then Aspergillus oryzae, that is creating sake, which is a rice starch hydrolysis you can say product, and this is one of the you can say drink. Then Rhizopus, that is producing tempeh, so that is also important. Mucor, that is causing the soybean curd making, that is supu. Then Monascus purpurea, that is forming the red rice, that is angkak is a name given for that particular red rice. So such type of variety of say food material or recipes or food preparations we have, and these are carried out at the cost of fungal inoculum, or fungi are deliberately used for that. And here the positive function of the fungi we can see. However, there are other alternative species may be showing pathogenic, for example penicillium, that is causing certain disease, or these are again you can say grown on the stored food material. That is another thing that destroys the stored food material. That is another thing. But if we use fungi wisely for the human welfare, then it is possible, and there are certain products available in the market which gives us justification of the usage of fungi for the human welfare. Then coming to the fungi which are grown on the food material, but sometimes these fungi will also be used for the benefit of human being. So food material, the bread mold, that is known as penicillium, or here claviceps purpurea. So these are the sources of the medicine, human medicine. For example, penicillium, you may be knowing that Alexander Fleming has cultured this penicillium, and penicillin, that antibiotic was extracted, and later on people have tried for the mimicking of this antibiotic, and ampicillin was developed. So such type of drug that was developed after the discovery of this penicillium. Similar to that, claviceps purpurea is a ergot fungus that has been extracted, that has been utilized for the making of medicine, and the medicines, these were utilized in the different treatments of the human being. So although this is the fact, but they are poisonous too, and this is even considered as a negative side of the fungi, and only because of this particular you can say functioning, the fungi are neglected, or everybody try to ignore the fungi. But it doesn't mean that other organisms are not ignored. In plants also there are certain toxic plants or poisonous plants. In animals also the toxins are a very routine process. So for example, snake is poisonous, or the plant, among the plants Datura is said to be poisonous. So just like poisonous organisms from the plant as well as animals and even in microbes also, the microbes just like bacteria, Escherichia coli, these are causing the dysentery. So such pathogenic organisms are there everywhere. In animals also certain protozoans or certain worms we get in our digestive system, and they destroy the functioning of the routine, you can say, working of the digestive system. So just like that, some other may enter in our circulatory system and cause severe symptoms, just like Plasmodium vivax, which cause malaria. So such organisms are there, and in every organisms this negative side is there. Even for human being may be negative for some other group of organisms, because just like them we are heterotrophic and hence we may be harmful for them. So let us not ignore our side also. So such organisms are there, and therefore fungi, they obviously have certain species which are pathogenic in nature, but it doesn't mean that the entire fungi are pathogenic or entire fungi are to be neglected. So there are certain beneficial fungi and we have to look after that. Then next fungi, these are required obviously in fermentation because they follow the anaerobic respiration, and such fungi, they go for fermentation, which leads to the preparation of certain beneficial products, just like ethanol. Here it is given in the table. Saccharomyces cerevisiae, that is responsible for the production of ethanol, and of course it is from the glucose. But this another fungus, uh, Cluveriomyces tragilis, that is going to produce the ethanol from lactose. So depending on the substrate, the fungal species, they are having different enzymatic setup, and accordingly they will be synthesizing the ethanol. Ethanol we require in tremendous quantity. Nowadays the ethanol is a substitute for the petrol. So why this ethanol is considered as the source of energy? Because it is having carbon-carbon linkage. So that carbon-carbon linkage is the stored form of the energy, and if we open up that bond, carbon-carbon bond, then energy is released, and this energy can be utilized for the metabolic purposes. So that's why ethanol is even consumed by human being in the form of wine or beer, and this will be also utilized by the vehicles because of this carbon linkage. So here, if glucose is a starting material, then ethanol can be produced by Saccharomyces cerevisiae, and if lactose, which is a disaccharide, if it is the carbon source, then that will be produced, that will be converted into ethanol by this uh, Cluveromyces tragilis, so this particular fungus. Now citric acid is important. We know the plant sources of the citric acid production, these are mostly the citrus plant, but here the fungus Aspergillus niger is also responsible for the production of citric acid. Then Candida utilis, that is forming the microbial protein from paper pulp waste. So paper pulp is the important portion for the paper making industry. But from the waste of that, the microbial proteins, or there is another peculiar term for this microbial protein source, that is single cell protein. So such single cell protein we can obtain even from the Candida utilis. Okay. Then Saccharomycopsis lipolytica. This is a fungus that is obtained from this that is going to produce the microbial protein from petroleum alkanes. So alkanes are the hydrocarbons from which the protein generation is also possible. So why these fungi, they are able to make the compounds which are required by the human being? the fungi are very active, you can say, living organisms which have a set of enzymes, set of pathways which are known as bioconverters. So from one substrate, if it is converted into another, then this is a live factory. Otherwise, if we decide to convert this particular substance into the another substance, then lot of efforts we have to take, lot of energy expenditure is there, and still we are not sure whether it will be converted or not. So fungi are very good factories for the conversion. Fungi are very good factories for the uh, breaking of certain complex substances into simpler form. Fungi are very good factories for production of, say, nutrients which are required by the plant. So that's why these fungi, they are very much important, and specifically for the fermentation, these fungi can be used. So here the Saccharomyces cerevisiae that was discovered for the first for the fermentation process, and later on the number of species among the fungi these were discovered, and certain species, Penicillium, Geotracheum, Saccharomyces, these are fully utilized by the human being for the manufacture of such fermented products. So here the fungi, they are utilized in the fermentation process. Then coming to the next slide, the food industry. So fungi, they are readily used for the food preparation, and there are many more processes in food technology. So for that individual processes, fungi will be again helpful. Okay. So here enzymes are playing an important role, and these enzymes are obtained from the fungi, and these enzymes are doing the particular preparation or say making of the food material. So what are the enzymes, and what are the sources of these enzymes from the fungal kingdom, and what are its application, we'll see. Amylases are the enzymes. All of you know that these are going to degrade the starch, and the sugars are formed, means glucose, simple sugars are formed. So, yes, madam?
No, sir. You may carry on, sir.
Okay, okay. So, amylases are the enzymes which can be produced from the Aspergillus species or Rhizopus species, and these amylases are able to convert the starch into fermentable components in baking, brewing, and syrup manufacture. So here, if fermentation is to be carried out, the complex food material is to be broken down into simpler form, and then will be processed for the fermentation. So starch needs to be converted into the glucose, and glucose is subjected later on for the fermentation, where the anaerobic respiration is carried out, and this is converted into alcohol. So such type of you can say conversion is possible with the help of amylases. Then clarification of fruit juices, that is important process whenever there is a synthesis of amylase, because the apple juice, if you considered, so that apple juice, if you make by the juicer or the mixer grinder, then that starchy content may be there in the apple which are suspended, and the small children, they don't like these starchy substances, because unnecessarily there will be blocking of their swallowing process. No? Very clear solution they prefer, and even in adult also such type of habit everybody don't have. So such starchy substances needs to be cleared, and for the clarification of the starchy substances, the amylases are used. Now these amylases are treated with the fruit juices or apple juices, and fermented apple juice everybody will like. Most of the children, they like the appy, you may be knowing that, that is fermented apple juice. and even adult people they may try for the fruit beer. Okay. Then scrap candy recovery, that is also done by the amylases, or vegetable canning, that is also possible by the amylases. Then another enzyme is their catalase, that is produced by Aspergillus species, and that is used for the decomposition of H2O2 hydrogen peroxide in dairy and egg products. So whatever the byproduct is formed in this particular oxidation state, that is hydrogen peroxide, that needs to be degraded or decomposed, so that is done by the catalase. Then alpha glucosidase is an enzyme that is also known as maltase. So that is produced by Saccharomyces euvarum. So this is responsible for the conversion of maltose to glucose in dairy products. So maltose is a double sugar or disaccharide which is to be degraded into single or monosaccharide, that is known as glucose. So for this conversion, the maltase enzyme will be working. Then glucose isomerase, that is the enzyme reported from majority of the fungi, and that is responsible for the conversion of glucose to fructose in corn syrup. So this is a particular product which is consumable or edible product by the human being. Then glucose oxidase. So glucose oxidase is required for the conversion of glucose to gluconic acid and removal of oxygen from the juices or from head space of the container, because this oxygen may cause the oxidative degradation. So that particular phenomenon is to be avoided. So here oxygen is to be glucose oxidase is an enzyme which will be responsible for removal of this oxygen from this. So Aspergillus and Penicillium species, they are showing this particular existence of enzymes, and hence the food preparation become easier. Then invertase enzyme is reported from Saccharomyces cerevisiae and Candida utilis. It is used for the conversion of sucrose to glucose and fructose, means here the hydrolysis reaction is done. Then it is also preventing the granulation in soft centered confectionals. So in confectionery, the granulation is avoided because of this invertase enzyme, and here it is also used in production of artificial honey. So honey is the collection of say sugary substances, and most of the fructose component is there. So that's why if you treat glucose with this invertase enzyme, the fructose will be the product, and that fructose will be generating the artificial honey. Okay. Then lipase is an enzyme which is lipid degrading enzyme. So lipase is produced by the Aspergillus rhizomys species, Penicillium candida species, and this is responsible for the breaking of say lipids into fatty acids and glycerol, and that is also adding the specific flavor to the cheese, and then removal of egg yolk from egg white, that is also carried out by the lipase. Okay, so such type of fungi that will be used in industrial food industry, or food making process, or food technological applications. Then next, the fungi are used in medicine. So we know that Alexander Fleming has extracted the penicillin, and later on the fungi were considered as the richest source of the antibiotics. Now it is the separate group of fungi that is so showing somewhat relevance like that of the bacterial colonies. These are known as actinomycetes. So these actinomycetes, they are able to produce a variety of antibiotics, a broad range of antibiotics, and therefore fungi are therefore considered as antibiotic producers, which is a huge source. So more than 1,000 antibiotics, these are produced from the 6 genera of the fungi. Very selected fungi are there which have this particular capacity, or actinomycetes species which have this particular capacity. for the antibiotic production. Then Cephalosporium acrimonium, that is producing the cephalosporin antibiotic, and that is causing the control over broad range of say, pathogenic bacteria. And nowadays people have designed the structure of antibiotic, and chemically antibiotic can be synthesized, because these people, they don't afford the culture or extraction of the antibiotic from this tedious process, no, from the fungi or cultivation of fungi. So it is very easier to them to add chemicals together and form the antibiotic synthetically. So, however, there are certain people who look after the fungi ultimately for the source of antibiotic, and the people, industries, they are also taking care of that. Then fungi can be used as medicine. Here, very good example is Claviceps purpurea, that is going to produce the human medicine for the human being, and here for the childbirth, due to you can say this particular medicine, the uterus is controlling the bleeding, as well as it is supporting for the powerful contraction. So in a normal delivery, powerful contractions are essential, and these medicines from the Claviceps purpurea that can produce, that can give this particular medicine to the female, and the delivery become easier. So this is again a rich source of many bioactive substances. These are identified by the pharmacologist, and these substances are used as medicines. These are also producing certain alkaloids that can be treating the nervous disorders, just like migraine or Parkinson's and senile dementia. So such type of psychosomatic diseases are treated with the medicines which are obtained from the Claviceps purpurea, which is a ergot fungus of say jawar or bajra or even wheat, and they have this particular property to treat. So in broad range, if you see the nature of medicine, then you will find that even small quantity of poison will be considered as medicine. So for making the anti-venom injection, snake venom is treated as you can say uh, the inoculum for the creation of the antibody. Then later on the antibodies are collected, and these will be utilized against the snake venom. So just like that, the poisons sometimes they are serving here as a stimulator for the creation of say defense system in the body, and if defense system is totally activated, then for the next attack or for the next you can say infection chance, this will be serving, this will be acting as defensive mechanism, and hence our body can be saved. So nowadays, whatever the vaccine we take, these are the half-killed microorganisms, and against that, the antibodies are to be raised by our body. So whatever the poisonous things, whatever the neglected things, whatever the toxic things are produced by the fungi, that toxic things, that neglected thing can be utilized as a medicine, of course in small quantity, and medicines can be generated. So in particular therapy of say treatment, in nowadays this is a era of Ayush in our India, with different therapies are available among the Ayush. So homeopathy, if you consider, the homeopathy is treated as the therapy for the diseases. In Marathi, it is known as Samalakshan Chikitsa. Samalakshan Chikitsa means same kind of symptoms are to be produced, are to be generated by the body, and then that body will be adapting that particular mechanism to combat that particular adverse thing. So it is the training given to the body for combating the adverse effect of any, say, pathogen or any disorder. So that is being done by the homeopathy, and fungi or fungal toxins or fungal, you can say, compounds, they are acting here in that mechanism for the stimulation of, say, defensive chemicals, and in that case the fungi are treated as medicine producers instead of, say, toxin producers. Okay, so here this is the uh, fungi, role of fungi in the medicine. Then specifically, if we see the giant puffball, that is having Clavacea species, so that is having the property of anti-cancer. So this will be used for the anti-cancer drug. Otherwise, from the plants, anti-cancer drugs we can produce, but plants require too many days to grow. So Taxol is the anti-cancer drug that is to be obtained from the Taxus baccata, and for growing of the Taxus baccata many years are required. Similar to that, the angiospermic plants, certain angiospermic plants, they have the anti-cancer property, but for growing these plants so much time is consumed. So instead of that, it is very easier to grow the fungi, because fungi require nothing. Okay. So in dead organic matter also fungi will be growing, and this fungi will be proliferatively reproducing, and within short span of time there is a bigger fruiting body may be produced by the fungi, and due to this greater production of the biomass, this will be the alternative source for the drugs. So here the puffball, if these are there, then this will be very readily used as anti-cancer drug instead of cutting the plants and destroying the forest. So it is very easier to use fungi for the drug making, or for this for acting as a source of, say, drug which is used as anti-cancer property. Then next, the fungi are the sources for the production of hallucinogens or certain toxins also. So what are the hallucinogens? Hallucinogens are the treatment chemicals for the psychosomatic disease, and these sometimes what happens, due to the realistic life, the people are highly depressed because of the unfair means which is happening in our surrounding. So people are highly depressed, and therefore it is essential for the treatment of these people. So that's why artificial, you can say, happening, artificial, you can say, joyful environment can be created. And as it is artificial, therefore these are known as hallucinogen, means imaginary things we can create, imaginary feeling we can create. So you may be knowing that there is a Hindi song, I remember, पल भर के लिए कोई हमें प्यार कर ले झूठा ही सही. So that kind of feeling may be developed because of these hallucinogens, and even they are false. The people are treated with that. Nowadays, the people are not having any uh, time, no, to interact with each other, and that's why people are very busy in the mobile phones or any other devices which are the virtual world. Even children, they are well addicted for this mobile and other devices. Virtually they have their own heroes or heroines. Small children, they are in search of superheroes, and they create their imaginary world. So by creating this particular imaginary things, people get relieved. Okay. So they just want to forget whatever happening, adverse things are there in their daily life. So that's why they have to create the imaginary thing. So for creating such imaginary things, the chemicals which are available, which are otherwise acting as medicine for this psychosomatic disease. So these are the hallucinogens. So such hallucinogens, these are extracted from the panja, and one very good hallucinogen is lysergic acid diethylamide (LSD) that is produced. So in case of psychiatrist, this will be very much important, and this is used as medicine. However, for narcotic purposes also, people they try to take this LSD, and accordingly they forget their original life or whatever the adverse thing in the surrounding. So similar to this LSD, other mushrooms, say konosybe or psilocybe, stropina, these are having certain chemicals as psilocin and psilocybin. These are the chemicals, they are equivalent to the LSD. These are produced from these mushrooms. This is reported from Mexico. So these are also acting as hallucinogen. And certain poisons are there, that is from the mushroom Amanita muscaria, that is a species. So that was used for the murder of, say, Julius Caesar long back in Rome. So such type of say mushroom that is considered as deadly poisonous mushroom, and whatever the fascinating colors are there in the mushroom, they are all indicating the poisonous mushroom. Although they are poisonous in nature, but it doesn't mean that this is the always property. In small quantity, the poisons may become the medicine also. So such type of importance is given to the fungi, as they are producing certain novel compounds or highly important compounds. Then coming to the mycorrhizal fungi. So here mycorrhizal fungi, they are highly beneficial for the crops or plants, and for every crop or every plant they have the association of the mycorrhizal fungi. So certain mycorrhizal fungi are identified as Glomus jasiculatum, Glomus geosporum, Glomus mosi, Aquilospora, Enterophospora, Gigaspora, Sclerocystis, then Scutellum species. These are also called as mycorrhizal fungi, because they are always associated with the root system, and as they are associated with the root system, they are supportive to them, and because of this support, the plant life become easier. So what support they provide? They go for the uh, preparation of these nutrients within the soil. So how the preparation of nutrients is done? The nutrients are whatever the nutrients are there. You may be knowing about the nutrients. There are many more organic and inorganic things that are there in the soil. So these nutrients are otherwise that get combined with the rocky material, and very first step of that, this material is to be converted into soluble form. So plant wants nutrients in the soluble form, and these mycorrhizal fungi, they will be utilized uh, by the plants for the you can say solubilization of these nutrients. So nutrients are to be converted first in the water, and this water is available as capillary water in the soil particle, between the soil particle, and then plant can absorb this water. So such type of mobilization of nutrient is possible due to the help of mycorrhizal fungi, and again it increase the surface area for the absorption. So fibrous root, you may be knowing because of the advantageous root system of the plant, but in addition to that, certain microfibers are provided by this fungi, and because of this fibrous network, the surface area for the absorption of nutrient that is increased, and hence additionally the nutrients are absorbed by the plants, and the supply of nutrient or requirement of the nutrient by plant, that is getting fulfilled. So that's why plants which are showing the treatment of mycorrhizal fungi, that will be luxuriantly grown and very uh, significant or remarkable symptoms we can see. Again, in addition, these mycorrhizal fungi, they are acting as stress busters of the plant. So plants are facing certain stresses, for example, drought stress or salt stress. So these fungi will be combating those stress, and the stress get relieved by the plant, and hence the plant becomes stress tolerator. So such type of association of mycorrhizal fungi, that will be helpful for the plant for the stress tolerant mechanism, and that's why they are always found associated with the mycorrhizal fungi. Root are always found associated with the mycorrhizal fungi, and hence we can have the inoculum of mycorrhizal fungi as biofertilizer. Then apart from that, there are certain fungi which are responsible for causing the diseases. So these are destroying the plant material or crop, all of you know, but at the same time they will be providing the defensive mechanism for the plant, and during the course of evolution, certain plants, certain hosts, they become totally resistant, and that's why the resistant genes are developed against this fungi. So these are the stimulators for acting, for the activation of say defense mechanism within the plant. So in negative ways also they will be helpful for the you can say plant, or for the help. This will be helpful for the crop production. So we are obviously concentrating on the crop plants because crop plants fulfill our need. So such crop plants can be saved from the fungal attack. That is no doubt. Here we have to use the pesticide, fungicides, and the control is to be established. But at the same time, this kind of say observation will stimulate us to create the resistant variety by following the alteration of the genomes of that particular species, and the resistant variety will be able to develop. And again, in addition to that, you find specificity for the particular causal organism on that specific host. For example, here there is a huge list. Blast of rice is produced by Pyricularia oryzae, black stem rust of wheat is Puccinia graminis tritici. So there are certain specific fungi which are causing specific disease. Now this specific fungi, if you identify, and instead of say treating this on the specific crop, if cross inoculation if we do, so suppose Pyricularia oryzae is specific for the blast of rice, but that may be used for the pea. So that cross inoculation may solve the problems of the pathogenicity, and hence sometimes some of the fungi that will be favoring the growth of the plants. So such type of observations are made in Japan. The Gibberella fujicorae was a fungus, and from that fungus the gibberellin was extracted, which was later on proved to be the plant growth regulator. So such type of fungi, although they are causing certain damage to the specific host, but if they are treated for another host, then that may be the growth facilitator also. So in negative ways, the fungi should not be neglected as pathogens, or these are disease causing agents. But instead of that, if you wisely schedule or wisely go for the cross inoculation test, then many more miraculous things will be in our hand. So that is the importance of fungi even from the pathogenic species. Okay. Then fungi, they are clearly used, or they are clearly designated as the biocontrol agents for the pest management. So here in left diagram, you can see these are the fungi which are grown on the insect bodies. So such fungi are known as entomopathogenic fungi. Now what happens, these insects are destroying the plant tissues, and because of that the physiological functioning of the plant is going to hamper. To save this hampering activity, the fungi are growing on the body of the insect, and hence they are trying to withdraw the insect proteins, and hence insect body will be dead. So because of this spread of entomopathogenic fungi, the insect control is already done. So this is therefore known as fungi as biocontrol agents. So here these will be also utilized here in the diseases, just like in this particular diagram. In figure we can see photograph, we can see the spots, fungal spots, and due to what, the rotting of the fruit that is being carried out. But such type of diseases one can minimize due to the fungi which are trichoderma, and this trichoderma is therefore called as biocontrol agent. So trichoderma is a fungus, but it has the capacity to control other pathogenic fungi, and hence this is a friendly fungus to the human being, to the farmers, and hence we can use the biofertilizer of trichoderma. In addition, trichoderma is also active for the solubilization of many more nutrients, just like mycorrhiza, because any kind of say fungi, right from the lichen onwards, the fungi are able to form the or fungi are basically the degraders. So certain complex organic matter is going to degrade, and smaller things which are the components of nutrients, these get produced, and these are solubilized, and hence that will be helpful for the absorption by the plant. So such type of say fungi that will be providing, that will be generating, that will be enriching the nutrients within the soil because of this degradative ability. Okay. So fungi are scavenger, fungi are decomposers of the waste material, and because of this decomposition, the nutrient pool in the soil that is maintained, and the same nutrient pool is circulated towards the plant for the absorption, and many more metabolic activities are carried out by using the nutrients from this soil, and same nutrients are circulated to our bodies as we are dependent on the plants for the sake of food. So such type of nutrient requirement, our nutrient requirement is provided by the fungi which are the soil dwellers. So just like trichoderma, they will be helping a lot. They will be controlling the pathogenic fungi, they will be controlling the insects, and hence these are therefore called as biocontrol agent. So for the pest management, for the disease management, the fungi are also useful. Then coming to the airborne fungi, they are causing certain diseases in human being, but they are making us resistant against such diseases. Of course, the immune system, if there is a weaker people who don't respond to the, you can say, in a defensive way for those fungi, it is difficult for them. But for other people who are getting defensive as per the stimuli from these air fungi, so such fungi will be providing the necessary input for creating or for making human being defensive against that particular minor diseases. So such air fungi that will be, you can say, acting in negative ways like this, and hence the you can say problem gets solved. However, there are certain deadly fungi are there. For example, mucormycosis. Recently, we have discussed. So, such mucormycosis is the indicator after, say, corona disease or corona patient who are recovered. They are badly affected with mucormycosis because the immune system of these people that has been weakened already, and we know that what we require for developing strong immune system. So Indian population is very fortunate to have the immune system against the several pathogens. However, this is not the case in case of say European people. So um, we are in continuous contact with the fungi. We are in continuous process of inhalation of this air fungi, and that's why our body is responding very defensively. Our body become resistant so that nothing will be happen in our body. So this is the boon rather than the you can say destruction from the fungi. So our body is benefited a lot. Our body become resistant. Our body become very strong to react against the fungi or any kind of say spores in the air or even pollens or any kind of say spore which are the part of say aerospora. Okay, so this is about the uh, fungal importance that is going to build our body against the future attack of these spores. So there are certain fungi which are causing allergies too. So these are to be treated very seriously, and if the people are very much sensitive to this, then it is better to avoid the contact of this fungi. So there are certain fungi which are the allergens also. So names are given here: Alternaria, Aspergillus, Botrytis, Candida. So that these are general fungi, but for specific people, this will be causing allergies, not for all. Then coming to the very important role of the fungi in an ecosystem, that is a decomposer. So decomposition is essential because there is a need of circulation of the nutrients from the dead bodies to the soil. So for the scavenging activity of the dead bodies destruction, this fungi will be working. So these fungi in a photograph you can see they are grown on the logwood, which is a dead material, and after some time this will be totally destroyed. And if there is destruction, then it will be a space for the other activities of life. So such destruction is essential because the dead body of they are of no use. But if they are decomposed completely, then that becomes the part and parcel of the soil, and in this way nutrient pool of the soil is generated, and this nutrient will be supplied to the plant again. So there is a cyclic movement of the nutrients, circulation of the nutrient. So that circulation is imperfect if the fungi are absent, and that's why these are said to be very important component of the ecosystem. So in a typical ecosystem, if you try to explain their biotic factors or biotic agents, then along with these producers or consumers, the decomposers are very much important, and these decomposers they take care of the cleaning of this ecosystem, which is otherwise contaminated with the dead bodies. So dead bodies are to be clean, and that's why maintenance of the ecosystem is done by this particular group of organisms. Then fungi can also be used as degrader, as these are basically cleaning agents, so they are also cleaning the xenobiotic substances. So these are the degradation of xenobiotic substances that is being carried out by the fungi, as they are having number of enzymes or vast diversity of chemicals. So because of that, the chemical appropriate treatment is given to the xenobiotic substances and degradation is possible. So what are xenobiotic substances? Xenobiotic substances are produced by the human being. They are synthetic substances and they are not like that of the natural things, so that easy decomposition is possible. So even for this xenobiotic substances which are otherwise difficult for the degradation or disposal, the fungi can be used, or fungi will be modified uh, for the treatment of these xenobiotic substances degradation. So here xenobiotics will involve the uh, synthetic substances which are produced. So based on that, one such a substance we have tried to target, that is plastic. So plastic, if it is having certain properties, and it will be useful for the human being a lot, because many more daily life activity we can't perform in absence of plastic. So we can carry milk because of the plastic bags. We can laminate our certificates because the plastic is available. So such plastic being a very durable polymer, or being a very you can say thin or weightless substance, we use it for the daily activity. Now such plastic, after its usage, this is thrown by everybody of us, and while throwing this plastic, we are not taking care of the living organisms which are uh, uh, present around us. So that's why what happens, due to consumption of this plastic material, there may be a death of the animals or choking of the digestive system of the animal, alimentary canal of the animals. That may be the adverse thing, and that's why the many more you can say problems may be created. Or plastics, they contain certain plasticizing substances. Of course, these are added by the human being, and these plasticizing substances, they are creating more dangerous effect in our metabolism. They are causing actually the toxin for us, and that's why such plastics, they are highly hazardous to us if they are not properly disposed. So such plastics, if these are thrown, then the fungi will be the solution for that. So in our lab, we have started for the plastic waste management program, and fungi we have chosen for this particular process. So the fungi which we use against the plastic, that is polythene specifically, we have taken. So for polythene degradation, we have taken this, we have utilized this fungi, Aspergillus niger, Aspergillus glaucus, Phanerochaete chrysosporium, Pleurotus austriatus, it is a mushroom, and Trematis versicolor. So all these fungi, they are of pathogenic type, except this Pleurotus austriatus, which is edible fungus. So such type of fungi were treated with the plastic, means polythene, and these are of course the microscopic photographs, and such type of experimental setup we have created. So medium has been taken, broth medium has been taken, and the fungi were inoculated, and into that the polythene strips were inserted. So after this, we could observe the degradation of this polythene. Then we come to know that the degradation was possible. So here the degraded polythene can be shown here. So number one is Phanerochaete chrysosporium, that is the number one fungus which is able to degrade the polythene very strongly, followed by other species, Aspergillus niger, Aspergillus glaucus, Trematis versicolor, and Pleurotus austriatus. So such fungi were also found to be the degrader for the plastic material, polythene material, and hence it proves the decomposition ability, or even for the xenobiotic substances. because plastic is a man-made product, and fungi are even combating this particular product degradation, and hence they are therefore called as real degrader, okay, real decomposer. So we have done this experimentation, and we have observed that the cracking in the polythene material was possible due to the fungal attack. Here in this photograph you can see the fungal spores are binding with the polythene strip. This is invented by the scanning electron microscopic observations, and due to these fungal spores, the consumption of the plastic, consumption of the polythene that was carried out, and because of that the holes are created. These holes indicates that the polythene material which is present here, that is being consumed by the fungal hyphae, or surface of this polythene that has roughened, and these cracks are also found to be present. So such type of experimentation was done in our laboratory. For that we could search the fungi from the rhizosphere of mangroves in mangrove ecosystem, and we have tried on polythene. Of course 20 micron polythene we have used, because that was considered as the main polluting agent among the polythene category. So that was utilized, and here are the results. So such fungi, they are acting as cleaners of the ecosystem, or degraders of the substances present in the ecosystem. And being a human being, we can't isolate ourselves from the ecosystem. We are the part of the ecosystem, and that's why we have to take care of the ecosystem. And if we manage these fungi for the degradation of xenobiotic substances which are created by us only, then it will be a real, you can say, holistic approach for the cleaning, and of course the credit should be given to the fungi. So fungi are cleaner also. So right from this food, the fungi are used in every facet of our life up to the cleaning, and that's why these are wholly uh, responsible for our welfare. So that is the message which can be obtained out of this seminar webinar. So with this we have to thank fungi uh, for doing